Wankhade. I am the founder of Sarthi. I am a psychologist as well as a psychology professor. Here we talk about real life experiences and meet people who are from psychology field and people who are willing to share their personal journey of wellness. As you all know, nowadays we are talking about journaling experiences, but of course there is a difference between taking notes from a professional and a person who has been doing journaling since years. Today here we have Anuja. Anuja is a very dear friend of mine and she is a Martech consultant and singer as well as a songwriter, and she has been journaling since years now. Hi Anuja.
Hi Snehal.
Welcome to our podcast first of all.
Thank you for
And
inviting
thank you for being here. Thank you for coming all the way from Mumbai here.
You're my friend. Anytime. Tell me.
How have you been?
I have been okay. I have been having some health issues. That's the reason why my voice is a little. I might not sound like a singer today, but I am a singer. And I have two original songs, but it's called Choti Choti Baatein, which is co-created with Suyog Dhokane.
Yes.
And other song is called So So Good, which is co-created with Eklavya. You can check it out. Thanks for that plug-in. Let's go.
So Anuja, you have been I have been consistently seeing your stories on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like you have been consistently posting your stories about your journaling, and it's really inspiring what I have been seeing.
Thank you.
You have been consistent since months now.
Yeah.
So just let's start from the start.
Okay.
How when did you start journaling and when did you think about starting a journaling?
So, actually, I've been writing ever since my school days.
Okay.
Growing up, I was kind of an ambivert person, and I had some challenging situations that I faced in school.
Okay.
You can say that I was kind of bullied during school time. So, at that time, I started writing diaries because I felt comfortable. Writing made me feel validated, helped me understand myself. I was not comfortable at that point of time to talk with my parents or with my friends about my struggle. So I started writing back then. It used to be a more personal journaling where I used to write about what I'm feeling, how my day has been. And but over the years, I have grown as a person. I have learned to interact in a social environment. To I've understood that different people look at different things from a different lens.
True.
Like, for example, I might be diabetic, so I will feel scared as soon as I look at a sweet, or I will feel conscious. But you're not a diabetic person, right?
Okay.
So if a plate of gulab jamun comes in front of you, you will feel excited.
Yes.
So it's the same thing, but different people have different reaction towards it. And that self-awareness about myself and my surrounding environment has reflected in my behavior, in my writing pattern also. So, like you've been saying, since the past 2 months, I have been posting my journaling. I restarted daily journaling. Now I do daily journaling.
Okay.
Previously, I used to do fortnightly journaling. So I create vision boards at the beginning of the year where I know that these are the things that I want to achieve in my life. Those ambitions are somewhere in the back of my mind. And now, when I'm doing journaling, my aim is to program my brain and to build a routine for myself and to make sure that the first prompt of the day comes from my end. It's like I'm trying to make my brain my slave instead of being its slave.
That's such a good thing to hear.
Yeah. So that's what I do. I make sure, and it's challenging to do that, to be consistent. That's the biggest challenge when it's come to journaling. But all I want to say to the listeners out here that journaling is a very personal experience. Not every time you will feel like sharing it with the people. Because I'm a writer, I have been writing for years now. So I can now do reflective writing, goal-oriented writing without being too personal.
Yeah.
Journaling is a personal experience. There's no need to put it out on display. It's more about you, yourself, understanding yourself, getting yourself validated.
Exactly.
So that's how it has been till now.
That's basically what you actually want to talk about,
Yeah.
your feelings, but you don't have people around, or you don't want to talk about those feelings to people, but there is a safe place you can put those things.
Yeah, so I think at any given point of time in life, we should become comfortable of the fact that there are many people who come in our life and they play important roles. Not everyone will stay with you forever. And we shouldn't put the responsibility of our actions, of our behavior on other people. Like, it's very comforting to feel validated with our friends, with our family circle, to have that safe heaven where you can be yourself and you don't feel judged. That's amazing. But at the same time, being an adult is difficult. And at the end of the day, your wellness is your responsibility. So I look at journaling as an accountability partner where I take responsibility of my reactions, my responses, and I am trying to, um, you know, program myself. Like, even before the podcast started, I just said to you, right, that one major learning out of my entire journaling process is that I have become very aware of the things that are in my control and that are not in my control.
True.
So wasting energy on things that are not in your control, um, like, even if you preserve your energy and don't waste it over how people reacted to you, or how the things are not in your condition, how you lack resources, instead of that, if we try to focus, like, journaling just helps you to focus on things that you have and what you can make the most out of it.
True.
Yeah, so that's what it has been for me.
How was it different? Like, what difference do you see, like, now that you are journaling as an adult and when you used to journal as a child, I would say?
I really laugh when I read at my school diaries. It's
Dear diary phase.
Yeah, dear diary phase. I was like a proper I had this Anne Frank moment, where I was writing literally everything. I used to write that, I forgot my pen at home and I had to borrow it from someone, and this person was so kind and they gave the pen to me. So I've written, like, and in general, as a person, I obsess over little things. I just love, noticing small
You
things.
cherish
I
small
really,
things.
that's just my nature. So I used to write five pages, 6 pages about one day, with in pathetic grammar, and it was it's very funny. But yeah, I would say that. So my birth name is, so in Hindus there's a Janma now and there's a Chalu now, right?
True.
I don't know how to say that in English.
There is a birth name and
Yeah,
there is a
the
name
regular
you
usage name.
regularly use.
So my birth name is Netra.
Okay.
And I really love it.
That's beautiful.
I somehow feel that Netra is more cool than Anuja. So I really like this character called Netra. So I had named my school diary as Netra, and Netra was my best friend.
Oh my God.
And every day I used to come home and I used to write everything. I used to tell Netra, Netra, today I went to school and then this happened and then that happened and this happened and that happened. And also during my teenage phase, I was very, you can say I had a people pleaser phase. I was also, you can say, kind of bullied during my school days. So those were like very conflicting emotions growing up. And yeah, I really wanted to be accepted by my friend circle of my age group. I wanted to look around cool among those people. So I did a lot of things, I wanted to understand them better. I think that it was very personal. And even now, there is a thing called, you have different purposes for journaling.
Right.
Right? So I resort to writing to sort the chaos of my emotions in my mind. So sometimes I write to create a to-do list, to build a routine for myself. Sometimes I write, I ask myself, so currently what I share on Instagram is my daily brain programming. So every morning or afternoon, I have realized that through the course of the day, there are 3 slots of the time when I'm all by myself. There might be like through the day, I'm surrounded with a lot of people, but early in the morning, just before the lunch and before sleeping, these are the 3 duration when I'm sitting alone, all by myself. So इनिशियली आई यूज टू रियली ट्राई हार्ड कि मैं दिन में से उठते से सबसे पहले जर्नल खोल के लिखूं, बट नहीं होता है, कभी कभी बुखार आ जाता है, कभी आपकी तबीयत खराब होती है, कभी आप ऑफिस को लेट हो जाते हो. सो व्हाट आई मेक श्योर इज दैट 10 minutes of the day I sit and I ask myself, what am I feeling today? Okay. And what do I want to feel today? So there are some days when I feel extremely exhausted, but in the back of my mind, I have a list of dreams that I have on my vision board, right? And I really want to achieve them. So when I sit alone and I question myself that what am I feeling right now, I genuinely answer myself, I'm feeling exhausted, I'm feeling lost. But what do I want to feel so that I can become a better version of myself? So I ask myself, what do I want to feel? And then I tell myself that, I don't want to feel scared. So then I take help of prompts. I go online, I search for quotes about feeling scared. And then I read the quotes, multiple quotes. And then there is one quote that struck a beat with me. So then I write quote of the day. Yeah, I have read your quotes as well. Yeah, so then I write the quote of the day. And below that, after reading that quote, what did that quote made me feel? And I just write it down. And that 10 second of self-talk, it just changes the vibe of the entire day. It does help, right? It really helps because from feeling exhausted to being purposeful, I really feel that I deserve a lot of things and I've got a lot of potential. And I want to achieve a lot of things in my life. And that's the reason why I am trying to journal and I want to make that conscious shift of my thought process. So that is what they are mixed kind of journaling, like personal, reflective, correct, and goal oriented. Yeah. So you write everything. So when I restarted, like 2 months back, when I restarted journaling, at that point of time, I just got this way. So I actually read a book. It's a Marathi novel. It's called Mrutyunjay by Shivaji Sawant, which is based on life of Karna. So when I read that book, 2 major learnings was it made me realize that there is a big difference between inconvenience and injustice. So I just felt like I'm way more privileged than Karan, and he has achieved so much in his life. So much, yeah. And second thing that was very inspiring about that character was he might feel that he might have had the worst day of the life. He might have faced the worst injustice, but next morning before the sun rises, he will be on the bank of the river and he'll be praying to Lord Surya. And that prayer used to be his reset button. So कल कुछ भी हुआ होगा, कल उसकी सारी पांडवों के सामने पूरे हस्तिनापुर के सामने उसकी बेइज्जती हुई होगी, उसको सूतपुत्र कहा गया होगा, बट अगले दिन जब वो सूरज के मतलब नेक्स्ट डे व्हेन ही इज ऑन द बैंक ऑफ द रिवर, ही विल जस्ट talk to Lord Surya and he would be like, guide me, help me to achieve my dreams. And that reset button is what made me realize that, dude, I need this. Because life में हमेशा हर चीज आपके फेवर में नहीं चलती है. Exactly. So that's the reason why I restarted journaling. And this time when I journaled, it was not personal. So during my school or college days, it was very personal. It was about more about people around me, more about me, what image I have of myself, which I contradict many times. I feel like I'm a very kind person, but sometimes I get angry and I have acted unkind. And so in the beginning, in childhood, we also don't know ourselves that much. So there's always this image of ourselves and the real us. A good, good kid. We really want to be a good kid, but it's impossible. Like perfection in any form is a myth. So it's not possible to be a good person all the time. And there's nothing wrong about doing mistakes. There will always be a gray part in us, and we have to accept that okay, this is
part of me as well.
Yeah, and whenever that gray part comes in front of us, we become very uncomfortable with the concept we have about us. So I have this image in my mind that this is Anuja, and sometimes Anuja does not behave exactly in that way, you know. That happens at times. So it really
There is always this teaching from our parents that this is a good side
and this is
a
the bad side.
Like this is a good thing and this is a bad thing. So you should always be a
Good kid.
So whenever we behave something that is not from those teachings,
Yeah,
it's very hard for us to
also
accept that how can I be
behave
that
this
bad
way.
person? Like how can I be the bad kid?
Yeah.
How can I behave like this?
Yeah, and there are a lot of you know, there's this equation that we have with people around us. You know, आपने बहुत बार सुना होगा कि लोग बोलते हैं कि यार ये ना बहुत गुस्सैल इंसान है बट ये दिल का बहुत साफ है. आई मतलब हर चीज के पीछे रीजन होता है. If somebody has a gray side of it, there's a reason behind it. There's some trauma associated with it. There's some defense mechanism associated with it, because of which people behave the way they behave. But just because you are going through something, that doesn't mean that you mistreat others.
True.
Right? I might be going through horrible experiences in my life, and I am feeling extremely overwhelmed, and I'm not able to handle my emotion. But that doesn't mean that I lash out on my friends. And I love them. They are the last person that I want to hurt. So, writing really makes you self-aware. When you write, you understand why you behave the way you behave, and you also become aware of the repercussions of your actions on people around you.
True.
So that also helps. There are so even now I have got multiple diaries. You know, there are days when I feel very very overwhelmed, and I just write down everything that I'm feeling. Everything I write it down. There was this. So I'm a very very sensitive and emotional person. So there was this one instance when I was so emotional that I got fever.
Oh my god.
I literally got fever, and I couldn't cry. I actually wanted to cry, but I couldn't cry. But I was so emotional that I was not in a state to express, and I had like severe fever. So then I sat down and I wrote it on a piece of paper and I slept. Next day I woke up and I read it. The first time I read it, I felt more hurt because I felt like I'm living that experience all over again. But then I kept rereading it. The second time I read it, I felt validated. The third time I felt maybe I'm being a little too dramatic. The fourth time I read it, I realized that, you know what, there are other people also involved in this situation. If I am hurt, then other person will also be hurt. What can I do to react to this situation in a better way? And the fifth time that when I read the same thing, I just became indifferent from the situation. I was like, it is what it is. You know, this is what has happened. These are the people that are involved. I don't want to ruin things further. So this is how I'm going to. This is going to be my reaction. So if this was a childhood Anuja, she would have easily taken a month to get over this entire thing. But I became comfortable with that entire situation in a week's time.
You reflect and then you just accept.
You reflect it, you accept it, and you act over it in a practical way. So the thing is that when you are going through a very emotional experience, that time you cannot think rationally because your emotions are involved. You know, I'm an amazing support system. I am that person that you can call at 3 a.m. at night and I will listen to you and I'll support you. But I suck at taking help. I cannot take other people's help. That is my problem. You know, my friends sometimes feel, you know, hurt that I was in problem, but I did not reach out. So I suck at taking help. But that's just my nature. I don't want to burden other people.
How can I trouble
How
my
can
friends?
I know, ek to I already know what my friends are going through. So I don't want to burden them with my pressures. So I generally don't tell my problems unless and until it's just like I can't bear it at all. And such now
When you're at the point of breaking down.
When I'm at the point of breaking down, and now that I'm growing old, I know that I don't have time to waste. I really want to, recover from shit and get back to work because I want to achieve so many things. And I just
let's sort it out and get out of
रोने के लिए
it.
time नहीं है अभी मैं process कैसे करूँ? So abhi I have improved and I've started taking help from other people. Otherwise, yeah, but journaling helps me. It helps me to come to that accept. Once you reach the acceptance point, after that, at least you know that this is a problem.
True.
Till the time you are in denial, you are like there कोई problem है ही नहीं. एंड जनरली इमोशंस के साथ में क्या होता है ना, अपने को ऐसा लगता है कि मैं मतलब मुझे पता है ना मैं क्या फील कर रही हूँ, लिखने से क्या फर्क पड़ने वाला है. बट जब आप वो लिखते हो तो आप खुद को एज अ थर्ड पर्सन देख सकते हो. You can look at yourself from a third person view. It's like talking to a best friend. I want my best friend to not settle for a toxic guy. I want her to have strong boundaries. I want her to love herself and to say no whenever bullshit happens around her. Then why should I accept bullshit from other people? I shouldn't do that, right? So when I write down those things, at that time, first time you read it, you don't feel anything. Second time you read it, you don't feel anything. Third time you read it, you now can look at yourself from a third person perspective. यार मैं तो स्नेहल को ऐसा बोल रही थी कि स्नेहल तू ऐसा कैसा कर सकती है? Then how can I do this? I am tolerating other person's bullshit. This is wrong, and that just brings that awareness in your mind, and you just start getting that sense of boundaries. You can protect yourself. And you can protect other people also.
Yeah, you become very aware of situation around you and yourself as well.
And it's very important to say no to your loved ones. It's very important to have boundaries with your loved ones because when you tolerate their bullshit, you are making them comfortable to be a bad person. You want your loved ones to grow in their life. You want to grow yourself with them. That's the kind of place that I want to be. I want my friends to grow with me. So if they are failing at someone, I want to be brutally honest to them and tell them, dude, you are sucking at this. Don't do this. You are going to make a shit out of yourself. I am that kind of a friend. And initially I used to feel very heavy saying no and having boundaries. I used to feel like, am I offending someone? Maybe I could have done better. But as I started having boundaries and saying no and started being more reflective, writing more, I started realizing this is healthy for me and for people around me both. This is very important.
So tell me, if someone is new to journaling, like they want to start from the scratch,
okay,
how should they do it? What is the process? What did you follow?
Okay, I would suggest 3 steps. Number 1, first have a dream which is only about you. It should not have your friends, your family members, or anyone involved in it. It should be a dream only about you. Number 1. Number 2, think about the things that are in your control and try to do the smallest things that can become habits. So opportunities can come at any given point of time. Imagine that you got your golden ticket. Are you ready to present yourself? So look at journaling as preparing for the day. Okay. You need to think of having small habits that build your character, right? Third thing, if you don't know how to write and you are never written anything, take help from prompts. Start with writing the date, the place. Take prompts. Think of to-do list. Think of and like I said, have a 10-minute time slot where it's just you. Like no matter what is going through the day, journaling is making 10 minutes of time for yourself and for that one dream in your mind and talking to yourself and making sure, because your brain is very smart. If you tell your brain that, if you try to be fake optimist and you say that my life is perfect, I've achieved all my dreams, your brain cannot see that in reality, and that is the reason why it feels like after a point it feels fake and it loses the momentum. So tell your brain that this is my dream, I have already achieved it, it's a reality that is waiting, and for that I am creating habits for myself. I'm every day putting 15 minutes of my time. So when the opportunity comes, I'm ready and one day it is going to come true. So that's
You're
how
putting your manifestations in your
yes
journaling.
yes
Right.
It's very important to have a vision, a dream.
Okay.
To start.
So you didn't start with buying stationaries and buying new diaries and everything.
Oh my god! When I opened up YouTube and Instagram, it was such an aesthetic thing,
It's all over internet.
Stickers and colorful, pens and fancy glittery stuff and everything. But it was too overwhelming because I'm not a crafty person. So for me, it has been zero bullshit.
It's time consuming.
It's very time consuming and it is for a display. Understand that YouTube and Instagram are for aesthetics and to capture views, whereas journaling should be an internal process about self awareness. So, if you are a crafty person who enjoys decorating and coloring and painting is your hobby, then you can invest into it and you can enjoy the process of journaling it. But that's not at all a mandate. What I would say is that just go with the flow and write it down in your broken grammar in English. It's not something that you need to put a display on. Over the period of time, you understand yourself, you become more aware, and you try automatically your writing becomes more nuanced. You know how to write in a generalistic way. That's when you think about, putting out your general journaling process in public. So that's the same thing that happened with me. I've been journaling for years, but I've not been, putting it out in general. Even now, I journal a lot, but I only put that brain programming wala section on Instagram because that is where it does not crosses my personal boundaries, my friends or family's private moments. I can put it out. It is helpful for others, and it is helpful for me also. So invest in it if you're a craftsy person. Otherwise, don't waste your money, please. Have done that, and it was a waste of money.
You get distracted as well doing all those crafty things and what is going on in your head, and you want to put that thing in the diary, and as well as you want to do crafty things.
Because that's not your hobby, right? Exactly. For a painter or for a craft person, that's a hobby. That is something that they do organically. So a normal person who likes to write does not think कि मेरा blue pen है कि black pen है, ठीक है? But a person who's into painting, they would be like, purple is my favorite color. I would like to take up like purple pen and this and ruler and this that. Not a drawing person at all. So it's very personal. That's all I would say.
I think the biggest challenge in journaling is being consistent.
Yeah.
Like what would you give? Like what would you advise for?
It's a challenge for me also. So first thing what I would say is don't have unrealistic expectation from yourself. Understand your routine, understand the purpose of your life, understand your dream and vision. The aim of journaling is to make you a better version. So, firstly, like I said, you can have health issues at times. You might have a hectic traveling routine. It is difficult to sit down, to create a time where you sit down and write yourself. But I would also say that in today's day and era, we are so overly stimulated. There is Instagram, there are always reels. You will open Instagram and you will not realize that you have spent 1 hour scrolling through it. True. So we are very much overly stimulated these days. So it's very important to create time for yourself. So again, have a dream which is solely about yourself and make sure that you have a 10-minute dialogue with yourself. That 10-minute dialogue, you need to write it down on the paper. That's all that journaling is. Once you start doing it, you will realize that over 1 month period, 2 months period, you will start looking at yourself from a practical point of view. You will start getting 10 minutes out of a day is not difficult. I'm not saying that sit in the morning only, sit in the afternoon only, sit in the night only. Before sleeping, anytime through the day, sit for 10 minutes with yourself, talk to yourself, and while you're talking down, write it down. That's what simplistic journaling would be. It will be very easy for you to stay consistent. Also, if you want to be there for your loved ones in full capacity, you need to first be there for yourself. So you cannot be a good lover, you cannot be a good daughter, you cannot be an amazingly ambitious, career driven person if you cannot take care of your health and of yourself. So please take out 10 minutes of the day time and talk to yourself. It is necessary for everything.
I think for starts, you can just go for it and write down what you are feeling right at
Absolutely.
the moment.
Absolutely.
There is no need to write down pages and pages. You just
Absolutely.
write 3-4 lines, a paragraph, anything.
Yeah.
Just at the moment, what you are feeling, just write it down and get over it.
See,
And
many
with
people
time,
are.
you will, of course.
Yeah. So what I noticed it, especially with my guy friends, they are not very communicative or very expressive. So for them, writing down feels like too much of a task.
It's very difficult.
It's very difficult because girls are not bashed about being communicative. A girl being talkative is cute, but if a guy is being overly talkative, somewhere we look at them with a different view. ये इतना क्यों बड़बड़ करता है? क्यों बात करता है? So it's difficult to write down. Not everyone can write pages and pages, and that's okay. Exactly. But you can have. You must be having at least one person in your life at any one person in your life with whom you can talk comfortably. Your parent, your lover, your best friend, whoever, whatever. So just treat it as a dialogue with your loved one. Give yourself a pseudonym like Anuja talks to Netra. This is your new best friend who is going to be there for you at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, who shares the same problems as you and is available for you forever. Forever. Like, hota hai yaar, when we were in school, we used to say that we will always stay in touch with our school friends. But life happens. You don't get that much of time. Everyone is going through their own problems. Not everyone is going to be present for you in 100% capacity. So, and the ones who matter for you, for them, you need to be there in your 100% capacity. So please take out your diary. Make her your best friend. Just start writing Just write whatever. It is not for public display. It is just to make you a better version of you. So, right. Okay. It will be helpful. You will realize. After a point, you will so start loving it that वो 4 line, like आपने 4 line भी लिखी तो भी काफी है. And if you are finding it very difficult, take help of prompts. That will help you. Right. So we are almost at the end of the podcast. Okay. Just one last question for you now. Do you see journaling as a therapy for yourself? I think therapy is a heavy word. And you cannot become an advanced or a professional on day one. There's a difference between a beginner and a professional person. Right? Eventually, you become when you start writing, you start becoming more and more self-aware about yourself, and then there comes a point where you can look at yourself practically. At that point of time, journaling starts acting like therapy for you. But that will not happen on day one. Therapy is a very heavy word, and there is a lot of difference between being sad and being depressed. True. There are we are literally tired of telling people these things, and we are trying to make people understand the difference between being sad and being depressed. Yeah. So medical conditions, there are technical, like these are like clinically clinical illness is a serious thing. Unlike physical illness, you cannot just say that blood test हो गया आप डिप्रेशन से डायग्नोज हो. वैसा नहीं होता है. If you are fortunate enough and you are surrounded by emotionally intelligent people who take emotional conversation seriously, and they notice a behavioral change in you, and they support you and don't bash you for taking help, that's where that awareness comes in. True. So there is no shame. Like, I personally didn't go through therapy because I am fortunate enough My mother is MA B.Ed psychology professor. So she was a very emotionally intelligent and a mature person, and I know that my secrets are safe with her. So I always had that one person with me with whom I felt comfortable. But that being said, our friends cannot be our therapist. A therapist is a professional.
Therapist is a therapist.
A therapist is a therapist. They are professional people.
Yeah.
They can look at your things. They can help you do root cause analysis. It is a very overwhelming. Like some of my friends have been through therapy, and it is not as dramatic or filmy as they show in movies. It is not a comfortable thing to go in therapy and to talk about your um, deepest, darkest fears. It's not a comfortable space to be in. But once you,
it takes time.
if you are lucky if you find a therapist with whom your frequency matches, you actually feel comfortable. But then again, there is a soft line. You can become comfortable, and but you shouldn't be dependent on someone to always sort the chaos in your life. Life में कुछ ना कुछ प्रॉब्लम कभी ना कभी आते रहेगी. So just like that movie of Alia Bhatt and Shah Rukh Khan, Love You Zindagi, there is a point where she becomes emotionally capable enough and mature enough where she can handle herself, right? So at any point of time where you feel that you are not being yourself and you are losing touch of yourself, please don't shy away from reaching out to professionals and taking help.
That is the point of therapy, I think.
Yes.
Like to make you independent of your own thoughts, your own emotional being, and
correct,
help you take decisions.
Yes. So
for yourself.
Please reach out to counselors. Please reach out to therapists. Take therapy if required. But at some point of time, there will come a point where you will have to take responsibility of yourself.
True.
And I treat journaling as my accountability partner. My journaling gives me a reminder every single day that this is the goalpost that I want to reach. And am I doing something to reach there? Where am I standing? What am I doing? What have I achieved in my life till now? What not? So it has made me very much self-aware. It has made me accountable, and it has
you reality.
It has made me sensitive about my emotional needs and the emotional needs of people around me. And now it has become therapeutic for me. Now it has become therapeutic for me because sometimes when I write, while writing, like I said, I used to reread my journaling prompts. Now, while writing itself, I realize, okay, बहन, you are being toxic. So लिखते समय पहले मुझे लिखना पड़ता था, फिर रीड करना पड़ता था, बट अभी वो रिदम मेरे दिमाग में आ चुका है जर्नलिंग के साथ में कि मैं लिखते लिखते रियलाइज हो गया, ओके यहाँ पे गलती हो रही है, ये रिपीट नहीं करना पड़ेगा, यहाँ पे रुक जाओ, फुल स्टॉप, बाउंड्री, नो, यस, ओके, स्टॉप. So अभी वो रिदम आ गया है. Now it has become therapeutic, but it won't happen in a day.
It will take time eventually.
Please take counseling if you're feeling like you are not being yourself. There's no shame with it, and you are being responsible if you're reaching out to right people and to the professional people. It is extremely expensive in India to have therapy. Not everyone can afford it. So while you are getting into therapy, please have that goal in your mind that this is to help me sort the chaos in my mind and to become self-independent. You will not be dependent on it forever if you yourself program yourself and then enter into it with that mindset. It will be very helpful.
This was a genuine answer. It was not for the promotion purposes.
Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. I have spent 3 decades on this planet. I might look cute and young, but I'm 30 years old. So yeah, I have had friends from different backgrounds of life. I've lived in different cities, interacted with different people, and a lot of my friends have gone through therapy, and I have seen them become a better version of themselves. It is not mandatory. You can also fix yourself. Maybe your friend can also help you sort shit out of your life. But if you can afford it, then reach out to the professional. It will simplify your life.
True. Therapy is needed. Okay, so that was it for today, guys. This was an amazing experience, an amazing talk with none other than Anuja. By the way, I want to tell you, I want to mention this specially. Like, she came from Mumbai for this special shoot. For that, thank you so much for giving your time and the most amazing talk we had here. Thank you so much, Anuja.
Thank you so much, Snail. I am so happy that there are um, there are people in Amravati who take these things very seriously. These topics are very nuanced and they have a very long term impact. They can have a very long term impact on the quality of life of people.
True.
Like I said, my mom is also a psychology teacher, and I have been blessed with emotionally intelligent people around me. So if my experiences can help anybody, I am always available. And Mumbai to Amravati is my like Amravati is my birthplace, so I'll keep coming to this, and I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
This
Anuja.
was
Thank
an
you
amazing
so
experience, and I really hope that you keep doing such amazing job.
much. We
And
will for sure.
all the best, Amravati. I'm so happy that Sarthi is here, that Snehal is here, that the entire team of Sarthi is here. Please reach out to them, take help, and yeah, all the best. If you have any queries related to journaling, you feel overwhelmed, you can reach out to me on my
I will
Instagram.
definitely tag her Instagram handle.
Anuja Verse. Do ping me, DM me at any given point of time if you find this conversation interesting and need any help. I'll be there for you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anuja.
Thank you.
So this was not it, guys. We will be coming with more such topics and more guests who are from psychology field and who are willing to share their own experiences of wellness. Please stay tuned, subscribe, comment, and share. Thank you. For such more topics, follow Sarthi.